one reason why we're not having this housing crisis in our current recession, and that is because we have a very low inventory. Now, this is not 2008 when we... So what are these numbers all about, and what are the numbers behind them? That's what we're going to explore. I'm William Smith. I'm going to be your tour guide of how to understand a market snapshot for the city of Marina, which is 93933. So in October of 2022, we just completed, we have a group of properties that we're going to explore and compare, and we're going to be comparing the average of those closed in October with the average of those that closed in the 3 months before, July, August, September. So that's about the time that the market started to really trend differently, with interest rates affecting the marketplace. It affects inventory, it affects buyer mentality, it affects seller confidence. So all of those things go into play. If we compared it to a year ago, that was so different, because right up until the end of March, you were able to get 30-year fixed loans for under 4%. Then by the time May rolled around, it's 5.5%. By the time June, it's 6%. And now they're talking about 7% for 30-year fixed. But there's some other products we'll talk about. For instance, 5-year option arms, where you're fixed for 5 years and you can buy that down. And sometimes we get cooperative sellers that are cooperating with 1%, maybe 2% to buy those rates down, maybe from 7% 30-year fixed down to 5.5% or lower for a longer term. So these are all things that we can explore. If you have questions, we'll be glad to discuss them. Direct message me if you have any other questions, or give me a call and we'll go over all of that. So let's take a look first at what it is that we're seeing here in the marketplace, and we'll come up. I'm going to go up here in the corner first, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at this October snapshot. So the average sale price in Marina is up 8% in the month of October. So we had 13 properties sell. It's still pretty robust. We have 22 properties for sale, and guess what? There's only 1.69% month supply of inventory. That's down from the 3 months before, so there's less inventory. That's helping to keep these prices up. But let's take a look also at what else is going on with what is actually selling. So I'm going to take you to the MLS map, and first of all, give you an orientation. If you're not familiar with the city of Marina, it's here to the northeast of the Monterey Peninsula. Highway 1 goes right by it. You're going through Marina when you're coming down Highway 1 if you're coming from the north on your way to the Monterey Peninsula. If you're coming from Salinas, you can come across on Blanco Road. And if you're flying in, here's the airport, it's to the north. So the distance between Monterey and Marina is 9 to 10 miles, depending on where you're going to. You've got your central Marina here that was built 60, 70 years ago. You've got your newer Marina that was built about 30 years ago. And then you have your brand new Marina here that are 5 years or less. So these are affecting the market in different ways. So let's go ahead and first talk about what we're seeing as far as market availability. We've got right now, this is the 4th of November, we have 28 properties for sale in the city of Marina. We have 7 that are active contingent. That means that they're on the market for inspection and backup offers accepted. There are still contingencies that the seller has not removed. We've got 4 properties that are pending, and that means it's on its way to close escrow. We already have all contingencies removed. And then in the month of October, we sold a total of 13 properties. So that's still a pretty active market. And when we take a look at um, what the different areas are, we can see what the prices are. So I'm going to show you this part here. These are the newer homes, and these are the property that are 3 to 6 years old, and they take you down to the 895 range. The lower price ones are usually East Garrison. They have a surcharge that's a mellow roost charge is added to your property tax of over $4,000 a year. So that translates to just under $400 a month that adds to your expense. And that does affect the price. Also, they're a ways from the incorporated area of Marina and the unincorporated area of Marina on the old four-door. That's why it's called East Garrison. And then the newer houses that are 0 to 5 years old that are in the 900 to a million five range, those are in Sea Haven and the Dunes. So East Garrison is here, not far from Salinas. And a lot of people commute to the Salinas area, and it's a relatively easy commute to the Monterey Peninsula, but also it's an easy commute up 101 to Silicon Valley. And then the Sea Haven area is here, and the Dunes area is here. So those are on areas that are the old four-door that is starting to be developed now, and you've got big shopping center, some big box stores here, and it's nearby the old higher density, smaller lots, smaller homes right here in central Marina. And I said smaller lots. These lots actually are relatively small in Sea Haven. Some bigger ones. We'll take a look at that. But let's just take a look at a sold one here in Sea Haven. It sold for $1,200,000. It has a 6,500 square foot lot. It's just under 3,000 square feet. So that gives you an idea of what it looks like here. And I'll take you inside real quick. Oh, this is a new one, so it doesn't have any other photos. And that gives you an idea of what goes on with that. So I'm going to go ahead and take you back to the map. Let's take you here to two that are active. Here's one that's for 1.2 million. Basically, it's 2,280 square feet. It's on a 3,878 square foot lot, and this is in the Dunes. Take you to the listing and show you what that house looks like. A newer design, obviously significantly upgraded from some of the older 1960 models that you'll see in Central Marina. So that gives you an idea there of what is in the newer subdivisions. If I'm going to take you out to one of the newer subdivisions here, here's one that's sold. This one is in East Garrison, sold for $1,150,000. It's 2,500 square feet. I'll show you the inside of an East Garrison house in Marina. So here's an idea of what they're offering, and these lots are very small, and we'll show you what that looks like in just a minute. But they're brand new houses, so they've got lots of upgrades. So this one has a 5,469 square foot lot. That's actually a pretty good size for East Garrison. But let's go ahead and go back to the map, and I'm going to take you to another East Garrison, and that will be down here, and that's the only one that's sold. So let's take a look at some of these that are pending. So this one sold for $1 million. It's on a 4,000 square foot lot. That's more typical of East Garrison. And here's one that's on 834, and that is on a 3,500 square foot lot. A lot of these in the 800s have come up. They're 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 1,700 square feet. They're very close to one another on these 3,500 square foot lots, as you can see, but they have modern Florida designs and nice upgrades. So it's a way to get a home that gives you a start with nice finishing. But remember, you do have the Mellow Roost charge. That's an extra surcharge that you don't have in some of the other areas. So let's go ahead and go back to the map, and I'm going to take you to the older part of Marina. It sold for $795,000, and this is what that looks like in the city of Marina. So they've done some upgraded landscaping. They've done new flooring. Looks like they put in a new kitchen. Still has the 8-foot ceilings in it. So they've done a deco wall and put in a more modern island. Now, a lot of these homes had walls between the kitchen and the living areas, and now they've put the more modern open kitchen, open floor plan. So they've done a lot of the new features, and they're showing them to you here. So that shows you what sold in October, and it was on the market for 11 days, well priced, and it sold pretty quickly. So now we'll go back to the map and take a look at some of these others. Here's one that is pending, and this one's an interesting one because they were going to sell it as repaired. But look what they started. They started at $1,187,000 and then lowered it to $989,000. But when this stat comes on the market, it's going to be the price compared to the 989, not to the 1.187 that it sold for. So when you see that a house sold for 100% of list price or above list price, make sure that you know what the original list price was, because that does tell a story. This was on the market for 48 days. I happened to sell one of my listings across the street, and we sold it for $830,000, and that was unfurnished. This one was furnished, and ours had upgrades in that it was cleaned up and made ready for market. This actually has some more detailed, more expensive landscaping and the like. Not to everybody's taste, and either it's the furniture, but it does show you the high ceilings that is in this subdivision called Monterey Bay Estates. And this home was built in the late 80s, and that is part of that middle group of 30 to 40-year-old homes in Marina. So we're going to go ahead and show you that, and then we're going to take it back to the map, and let's go to the older part and take a look at one of the homes that sold in the central part. And this is giving you an idea of what these homes, this was on the market for 47 days. This one was built in 1958. So this is pretty typical of the old Marina, and looks like they've done some cleanup, but it's for the most part original. It looks like new vanities and some new nice landscaping, but original fireplace, and looked to me like the kitchen was all original. Look at that. All right, so that gives you an idea of what that older 60-year-old Marina looks like. So that gives you some things to take a look at when you're trying to determine, when you're making an offer, if you're going to list your property, what are some of the criteria that you're looking at. So I'm going to go ahead now and do some stats for you. So you see what's behind some of those other numbers that we have. The active property of 28, the highest price is that one that is $1,575,000. But the average days on market, 64. This one's been on the market for 170. So obviously the price is too high. 4-bedroom, 4-bath. It's built in 2022, and it's 3,000 square feet. So it's much larger than the average square footage. And in Marine, the average square footage is usually between 15 and 1,800 square feet. So it gives you an idea of some of the differences. This one is a huge lot, 12,000 feet. The older part of Marina, for the most part, is around 6,000 to 7,000 square feet. And then, of course, I showed you on East Garrison, those lots are about 3,500 square feet. So with that, you've got a pretty good idea of what's going on with the city of Marina, but just so that you know now what's behind some of these average prices, you've got the new homes that are 5 years or less, and you're comparing it with sometimes homes that are 10 times older than that. You know what the list ratio is, but you know that that number is after the price has been lowered sometimes, so you need to get a better handle of what that is, so that when you're making your offer, if they haven't lowered their price and they've been on the market for a long time, you might want to take a look at what the actual ratio is, because right now it's about the same as list price, but list price at the time that it goes pending. And then we have 13 properties for sale, 13 properties sold, and that's 8% higher than the average of the 3 months before. So the market continues to move on. So I think that some of the doom and gloom when it comes to Marina purchase is probably not nearly as bad as what some of the news commentators say. But you need to make sure that you understand that real estate is hyper local. Get your local expert to tell you what the real numbers are, because the national average has nothing to do with us. Our prices are being pushed up because we're near Silicon Valley and people can commute, they can work from home, and that has given our market throughout the Monterey Peninsula a big old buoy to keep the prices up. Now, that doesn't mean that we're not going to be affected in some of our areas, but just be sure that you look at the local stats before you start applying national stats. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the most important part. One reason why we're not having this housing crisis in our current recession, and that is because we have a very low inventory. Now, this is not 2008 when we had a huge inventory. We had huge debt against the property and lots of distress. Nationally, homeowners have upwards of 70% equity. So that's a big difference than it was back in 2008 when it was less than 30%. Equity was what most homes had. And when you had a drop to 40% of market, you had short sales. So those are all interesting statistics that we'd be happy to go over. But this is your snapshot for the month of October 2022. William Smith here with the William Smith Luxury Group at Coldwell Banker Realty in Carmel, California, serving you in Marina. Thank you very much.